Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. We've been looking at the mysterious creatures as defined by some of the earlier authors like Ibn Kathir and also Mas'udi. And I've given you some brief introduction about Mas'udi, that he was a very famous historian who collected a lot of things, and he lived around 1100 years ago, and he also had a great interest in geography. He wrote a book, Murawwiju Dhahab, The Meadows of Gold, in which he talks about different beings, in which he talked about the bins that we have talked about before, or Hind, who are also mentioned by Hafiz ibn Kathir in Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya, or Qasas al-Anbiya. And he also talks about, Al-Masudi talks about two other beings by the name of Rim and Thum. And that's exactly what our focus is today. So, you might have never heard about these particular mysterious creatures, and these names come from the works of Al-Masudi, who is a renowned Muslim historian and geographer of the 10th century, in his book Murawwiju Dhahab. In his writings, Al-Masudi mentions that the Rim and Thum as mythical or extraordinary creatures. Their descriptions are shrouded in mystery, making them sound like something straight out of a fantasy world. Rimm is described as a gigantic or unusually large creature said to inhabit remote, desolate, or uncharted regions of the earth. While Al-Masudi doesn't give detailed descriptions, other ancient Arabic texts portray such creatures as larger-than-life beings with strange and unique features, often dangerous to humans. Some stories even depict Rimm as living in places inaccessible to humans, far off forests or barren lands. As far as Thum is concerned, which is another mysterious creature often mentioned alongside Rimm, as is believed to share similar characteristics. Some sources suggest that Thum might be even larger or more enigmatic than Rimm. Like Rimm, Thum is thought to dwell in areas beyond human reach, such as uninhabited islands or distant wilderness. During Al-Mas'udi's era, science, geography, and literature were deeply intertwined. Much of the world was unexplored, and people often imagined these undiscovered lands as home to strange and extraordinary beings. Creatures like Rim and Thum could represent a mix of folklore, culture, imagination, and symbolic ideas about the unknown parts of the earth. It's possible Al-Masudi included them to reflect the beliefs or tales of his time, rather than presenting them as factual entities. The idea of fantastical creatures like Rim and Thum is not unique to Arabic literature. Similar beings are found in myths and folklore worldwide. For example, in Greek mythology, we have this concept of Cyclos and also of Hydra, larger-than-life monsters. In the Indian folklore, we found Rakshas and Yakshas, powerful and strange beings. And in the European culture, we find giants, trolls, and other legendary beings. So, were Rim and Thum real creatures? We don't know. We have no scientific evidence to prove that. They seem more like mythical beings, product of human imagination for the most part, until and unless we discover something that matches the description of them. Again, we are in the journey of thinking Muslim. So we are looking at several sources and bringing the evidences on table for you. And as I told you, why in the world are we looking into this? Because the ayah of the Quran in Surah Al-Baqarah, where angels, upon hearing about the Khalifa of earth, brought forth an idea that are you putting in a being on earth that will cause bloodshed. So the idea of bloodshed basically brought a lot of people to explore what other creatures existed before humans on earth that were responsible for something as hideous as bloodshed. It's quite possible angels had witnessed other beings before humans who were causing bloodshed and unrest on the face of earth. Remember that some scholars and interpreters see these beings as symbolic representations of spiritual, moral, or natural forces rather than literal biological creatures. In the list of the pre-Adamic creatures, we often find these names of Hin, Bin, Rim, and Thum. Also, some people have added to this list Jan and Jinn as separate two entities. And some people say, well, Jan is explicitly recognized as the ancestor of the jinn. And as far as the physical description is concerned, well, we know that Quran talks about jinns created from smokeless fire, but none of the others, like Hin, Bin, Thum, or Rim, are expressed anywhere in the Quran or in the books of Hadith. So according to some historians and scholars, the order of these beings who inhabited the earth starts with Hin, the first beings to inhabit, followed by Bin, followed Hin, but were later wiped out due to misdeeds, followed by the Thum and the Rim, who came after the Hin and the Bin, and they too caused corruption and were destroyed. And then the Jan came, who were the ancestors of Jinn, and then the Jinn came, who were created from smokeless fire, who still exist today, followed by human, who was sent towards the end as the Khalifa on earth. As comes in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah number 30, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala declared to angels that I am placing a Khalifa on Ard. Inni ja'ilun fil ardi Khalifa. And their response was, will you place in it one who causes corruption and sheds blood? So the statement itself by the angel implies that there might have been beings, or there were beings prior to humans in the capacity of maybe Tamm or Rimm or others who had a history of corruption and bloodshed on earth. And as I told you, that some interpretations suggest that these creatures were destroyed due to their corruption, disobedience, or excessive wrongdoings. Their destruction is sometimes linked to the appearance of jinn and later creation of humans. Druze community preserves the mention of Tamm and Rim, and in their cosmology, these beings are linked to evil forces. The Druze have a spiritual interpretation of beings like Hin, Bin, Thum, and Rim, and they sometimes connect them with a symbolic name like Habtar. As far as Ibn Kathir and Al-Tabri are concerned, none of them have specifically named Tamm or Rim. However, the idea of pre-human species who engaged in corruption is widely acknowledged. So that's why, referring to Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah number 30, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells angels that indeed I will make upon the earth a successive authority called Khalifa, they said, will you place upon it one who causes corruption therein and sheds blood, while we declare your praise and sanctify you? He said, indeed, I know that which you do not know. This passage is sometimes used to argue that there were beings like Tamm and Rim that might have existed before humans and had a reputation for causing corruption and bloodshed. Again, it is Al-Masudi in Murawwij al-Dhahab and maybe some others who have talked about the pre-Islamic beings, including the ones that I have stated before. So if you were to sum it up, Hin were probably animalistic, beast-like, so were Bin. Thum and Rim might have been semi-humanoid, possibly human-like in appearance, and all four of them, Thum, Rim, Hin, and Bin, had done corruption and disobedience and were eventually wiped out. Some scholars view it as different stages of life or multiple phases of creations before humans. And again, over and over again, I'm mentioning this so that you are very clear about it, that Quran does not explicitly mention Tamm and Rim, nor does the Hadith books. And some of you have expressed interest in we talking about Neanderthals or giants or Homo erectus. Well, just so that you know, we have briefly talked about giants, but inshallah, as we cover, these topics in a little bit more detail. We may revisit some of the topics that we have already talked about, but maybe not in that much detail. Well, till next time, take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more videos.